In our school, there is a lot of tasks, such as quizzes, examinations, and middle tasks. But what struck me that the IQ wasn't the only difference between the best and the worst student. I remember when I was junior high school, yes, of course, in mathematics, the best students can handle the examinations very well. But in the social material, the best students did not doing as well as the best and the worst student. So I came to the one question. What is the best support in educations for students so they can accept and succeed in the real life? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dhea Radika Putri from Polytechnic State of Sriwijaya, and today I'll talk to you about the power of patience and preference. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever I remember that the material, yes, of course, in junior high school, mathematics and the social material is a hard thing. We have learned about rations, decimal, or social history, but that material are not impossible, and I'm firmly convinced that all students can accept the material if they work long enough and hard enough. So I came to the one conclusion that in educations is much more than understanding in motivational perspective and psychological perspective. In our school, one of the things that to become a factor to justify as the best students and the worst students is an IQ. But what if doing well in school and the real life is not enough more than just doing something easier and quickly? One of become a factor to become a success in the real life and in educations that it wasn't a social intelligence, it wasn't a look, it wasn't a physical health, and it wasn't an IQ. But the answer is, it was a grade. A grade is a patience and preference to do your future for long term. A grade is having stamina for it. And a grade is all about sticking with your future day in, day out. Not for a week, not for a month, but for a year. So grade is having stamina to do your future. To do something in educations is much more than doing great in IQ or even in the score. Ladies and gentlemen, look at how there is a lot of students when they are choosing to become in university, at the end they become stressed and burnout from all of the burden in varsity and university school. For example, what if students think to choose the medicines departments because they think that at the end of the day, become a doctor is have a great life in the future. But without thinking that to become a doctor is their patience. And that students perhaps hate the biology, or for example, they afraid of blood. Oh my god, they want to become a doctor, but they afraid of blood. At the end, there is a lot of burden for them, and at the end of the day, it will burn out for them. I have to say to you, yes indeed, in our university, in our varsity, all of department has its own burden. It must be hard at the end of the day. But if we are doing something, it is our patience. No matter how hard it is, we will face it because we love on it. One of the really example from following the power of patience and preference for educations and the future for students is our influencer, Raffi Ahmad. As we know, from one of the interview that Raffi Ahmad told us that he has a really bad score in his school. But what we can see now, Raffi Ahmad became one of the success in our country. It is because he's following their patience, his patience to become entrepreneur, to become entertaining persons, to become a master of ceremony, to become a presenter, and now he become a businessman. So what is the most important in educations is much more than you are doing something great in score. We cannot expect the students to have a 100 score all the time, because it is the most important is the power of patience and preference. Like I've told you, if the student doing something with the power of preference and patience, no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard the circumstance that he will face, if it's doing by patience and preference, student can make it. So, what is the conclusion from my speech is, as a student and as a person, that we cannot expect a student to become perfect. But if we want the student doing well in this educations or even in the future, in the real life, we need to looking at their patience and preference on it. Because if you are doing something that you love it, you will have something magic. And that magic is happened because the power of patience and preference. Thank you.